Salutations, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. V back with another casted game of Age of Empires 3. But I shouldn't say casted game, more like an investigation. You find me at the Great Rift today to see if this USA build truly is the destroyer of the Portuguese. At least that's what it says in the replay. I was frequenting one of my regular Discord servers, and I found this replay. This USA strat destroys ports. It sounds like a bad YouTube thumbnail, but we will see. It's a bold claim, though I don't know if destroying ports is the hardest thing to do nowadays on the current patch. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's introduce our players in the southwest of the map. Playing in the color blue as the Portuguese, we have Sabugation, which is just an awesome username, getting his first 2 hunts as well as an early trading post. Well done, Pedro Ariel. And in the northeast of the map, playing in the color red as the USA, the guy we will be focusing on most is Wiley J, or at least that's how I'm going to say his name. Already getting his trading post down. First shipment is in, sending capitalism for his land speed deck. A very interesting deck indeed. Now, what really stuck out to me in this game and why I decided to cast it this week is because I started watching the first couple of minutes, making sure everything ran smoothly, and the build from the United States player Wiley started looking very familiar. And I realized that this is a build, or at least a very similar build, I had played against before. And it was an incredibly stressful build to counter as a classic European civ, which of course Port is. Now, that could have just been me. These guys are about 150, 200 ELO higher than I am, so Sabu will probably handle it quite a bit better. But if this is the US strat that I am thinking of, Portuguese could be in for a rough time. Meanwhile, he's sending 7 sheep and a homestead wagon, going to neglect sending Fetorias. We'll see how that works out for him. Meanwhile, going for the 80 coin, but look at this. We got a cheeky yank coming in. Oh, Wiley might be able to get this treasure steal here. Ladies and gentlemen, the crack shot goes down, and oh, it's going to be close. Oh, Wiley the American getting the treasure steal. That is going to really hurt Portuguese. 80 coin going into the American bank for free, and really, really nice for him. Both players having a early trading post, and both players sending, I would say, relatively standard cards, though the homestead wagon and the 7 sheep is a little bit out of the ordinary. Meanwhile, Wiley is almost halfway to the second age. Sabu is not even close, quite honestly. He's still got about 200 food. So going to be probably a full minute to a minute and a half behind. Meanwhile, it looks like Wiley only going with 10 villagers. That explains it. We have a 10-10 on our hands. And sending Spanish immigrants, oh my gosh, I'm getting deja vu. Not the good kind either, where you like have a memory of you and your family enjoying a night at the park. This is like bad deja vu, okay? I'm hearing the Vietnam helicopters in the background. The 1 outpost wagon is on the way, boosting XP income. And going to be able to call that group of powerful pikemen. I think tercios is what they're called. But the outpost is on its way over, and Sabugation just now getting about 1/4 of the way aged, excuse me. And he has a lot of his villagers on food, a few on coin. And it will be interesting to see where he decides to put that second town center, whether he plays it very defensively or maybe tries to seize some map control here. He does have what looks to be an, oh my goodness, this is a very heavy Age 4 deck, so we might be seeing an attempted FI out of Sabugation. You dirty bugger. Okay, I love it. So we have what might be a very aggressive USA build versus a very, very boomy, well, not boomy, but a very, very age-focused port build. We'll see how it works out. But what I think is going to happen, and I think this, I am really confident that this is going to be the build. I think we're going to see a mix of regulars and militia, and then we are going to immediately see a shift into Gatling guns defended by pikemen, regulars, and militia. And I think it's going to be a really quick base raid here. At least that's the build that I faced, and it was so difficult because as the Dutch, I was just trying to get my third and fourth banks up, and then I had to deal with 3 Gatling guns and then 2 Gatling guns, and it was just an absolute headache. Meanwhile, the Tercios are now taking out the town center, and it goes down. The H2 town center is sniped by these Tercios. Yes, they will go down to the Minutemen fire, but what an amazing pickup by Wiley. See, I think about a minute before is where I stopped the recording. Okay, that is a huge dent to the Portuguese economy. I mean, that is their big bonus, those extra town centers. And now that they don't have one, Portuguese is looking to be in a troublesome spot. Meanwhile, the Virginia General Assembly is on the way. The state capital wagon will be arriving soon, and it looks like we have a very even split of villagers on food and coin. Only 13 vills out of 10. He still has not built a house. Meanwhile, Portuguese is also kind of pop-capped, waiting for that 700 wood. He does not have the extra population of the town center. Oh my goodness, that's really, really hurting his build order here. His progression has been stunted. Meanwhile, 700 wood probably going to be followed up by the 700 coin. No, 700 coin has already arrived. So 700 coin, 700 wood. Meanwhile, for Wiley, we have capitalism, followed by the Virginia Assembly, and then we also had the Spanish card in there. And now we are going to be saying 700 wood and the New Hampshire age up. So things are moving very quickly for USA here. Now, his economy is practically zero, but once he gets to the third age, he's going to have access to some very deadly cards. He's going to be able to send the blockhouses. He is going to have, come on, where are those Gatling guns? I know they're here. Yep, there it is. The rolling artillery. He's going to be able to send 3 Gatling guns along with the regulars that he will probably be producing and some of these tercios. That is going to be a really difficult push for Portuguese to hold, simply because he's already used his Minutemen, and he will not have a second set from the town center, and he also won't have the second fire from the town center as well, which Portuguese really rely on to do a lot of damage to units that are assaulting their base. Meanwhile, 700 food and the large collection of books being gathered by the American. The Massachusetts volunteers are on the way, 5 militia, 4 regulars, and this build is starting to pick up steam. Meanwhile, 5 regulars are on the map, beelining for the Portuguese town center as I hydrate myself. Oh, excuse me. So the regulars are going to siege down this town center, and what is Subjugation doing to stop it? He is also going up to age 3. 2 barracks is going down here, along with a market and lots of houses, lots of infrastructure going down. He is at 23 vills to 29, sorry, not vills, population. 23 to 29, 17 vills for Portuguese, only 11 vills for the American player. But might get a nice snipe with the militia. Really nice job getting down one of those tercios. But now the 54th Massachusetts are here, and those militia are going to be eliminated. And here comes the trading post wagon to immediately assume the role that this Portuguese wagon was filling. And the rolling artillery, ladies and gentlemen, it is on the way, and it is going to be barreling into the Portuguese base. Meanwhile, the port player has only the 6 Caçadores to defend, and 6 Caçadores against regulars, militia, and 3 Gatling guns is going to be devastating. Really needs to get that third town center down and putting it right next to his original. So I wonder if he was going for kind of a 3 town center build here, or if this is where his second town center was going to be, and he's kind of just compensating at this point. We still don't see the blockhouses. Although we do see the trading post upgrade coming for America, that will hopefully make up for the fact that he only has 12 villagers. And what is his next card going to be? He's just rolling in the XP. Here come the Gatling guns. Oh, what a devastating volley. 3 of the original 6 Caçadores going down. More tercios hitting the floor. So there's plenty of anti-cav here with the regulars and the tercios. And those Gatling guns will shred any light infantry. So things are looking very, very worrisome for the Portuguese. More Caçadores and organ guns coming out. I am not sure Who wins organ gun v Gatling gun? I feel like Gatling gun takes it, right? All right, lots of TC damage going to go down here. And if he's smart, he'll put those tercios in cover mode. Yes, the tercio's going into cover mode. That is absolutely disgusting. But now the Castador's having to shield in the back. They cannot take on these Gatling guns. And the organ gun's coming out as well. Hopefully they can put down some fire on the infantry before this town center goes down. And the organ gun's getting a really nice volley themselves. Now 2 blockhouses going down for the Americans, but the Gatling guns are doing work. The town centers are going to be able to take out one of these Gatling guns, hopefully. And the Castadors are even in loose cover. So both Sabugation and Wiley playing this very carefully. Neither wants to lose their precious artillery. And 20 Vils for Sabugation, 14 for Wiley. So definitely an economic advantage with 2 TCs, although one is very damaged. 2 blockhouses are now down. This is an impregnable fortress. We have a frontier outpost, 2 blockhouses, going to leave a lot of infrastructure here that the Portuguese player has to chew through. Now here comes the American army. He's got to be careful with these organ guns. He needs them. He cannot go Castador versus Gatling guns, and now the Gatling guns putting down pain, but so are the organ guns, and the Gatling guns showing that they are shredding infantry even better than the organ guns. These Castadors not able to put down hardly any damage before they are wiped out, and the Gatling guns do go down, but at what cost, especially since it looks like Wiley is going to simply send more French Canadians. No, French Canadians. He's sending 2 Napoleon guns along with more regulars, shaking up the type of artillery. I wonder if that's going to be followed by another rolling artillery. 2 Napoleon guns and 2 Gatling guns are going to be very, very tough for Portuguese to deal with. Meanwhile, getting out halberdiers, which are just going to be, I mean, those are just going to be minced by any artillery. And that organ gun, sit down, son. The Napoleon guns coming out, though they don't have a lot to protect them. Now the regulars coming in, and if they can focus on the halberdiers, the Napoleon guns will be safe. Those halberdiers going down to all of the damage from the buildings and the artillery and the infantry. Things are not looking good for Sabugation. He needs more hunt. His villagers are now on the frontier getting exposed. Goodbye. Look at those villagers getting wiped out by those Napoleon guns. And they're so fast, too. They're able to retreat so quickly. They don't need to pack up like ordinary artillery. Oh my God, those villagers just getting wiped out. Goodbye. Oh, good Lord in heaven. Oh man. So America, Wiley taking almost complete map control. He has almost the entire, no, he does have the entire trading post line. He's at 18 Vils. Meanwhile, Portuguese at 23 Vils, 2 damaged town centers, 1 severely damaged, producing Castadors. And he really needs Dragoons right now. He needs something that can walk up and just one-shot that artillery, which would also be pretty good against those regulars too. And we have more tercios coming out, some more regulars, but we also have to remember the American economy is The American economy is very weak right now. Another outpost going down. He did lose one of those blockhouses, so he's not going to be able to do double regular. Though he is getting out a scary mass of units for this point in the game. We're only at the 13-minute mark, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, it looks like rolling artillery is on the way. 2 more Gatling guns, and along with these 2 Napoleon guns, and just Castadors and halberdiers to deal with it. Sabugation definitely needs a stable, and he needs Dragoons immediately. He's got the coin, he's got the food for it, but he's continuing to make halberdiers, and I don't know if I love that decision. An artillery foundry going down. Looks like we might be seeing some culverins, but I think it's going to be too little too late. Look at the massive units that's moving. It may not look very big, but it is powerful. A lot of siege potential in this army. Could rip through this Portuguese town very quickly. We have 2 Gatling guns, 2 Napoleon guns, lots of regulars, and that is a huge mass of halberdiers, but it is not going to be enough. And I don't even think it's going to be able to get in range. But now the militia coming out, getting on a really good spot here, and tried to melee the Gatling guns, but just got obliterated. And now the Castadors trying to poke in on the regulars as best as they can, but there is so much cover fire here from the artillery units. But now the villagers going in and taking out a Gatling gun at the cost of a couple Vils. It is now 23 Vils to 22. The economic advantage for Portugal is now gone, and their base losing tons of infrastructure. More Vils going down to 19 villagers. The halberdiers are going to get decimated and lambasted and eviscerated. and I am running out of adjectives, but the Gatling guns are going to obliterate this heavy infantry. And I just don't think it was the right response. I think Dragoons are the way to go here. I think the idea of switching into Culverins was good. It was too late. I think Dragoons, something that was really mobile and could have moved around and wouldn't have taken as significant damage from the regulars, would have been more of a steady play. But again, this is very similar to what I had faced. I want to say I faced this like 6 months ago. I will admit that the Napoleon guns are not something I expected. In the one that I faced, it was just Gatling guns, regular spam. And I think I probably played the same guy like 3 times before I finally figured out. And it's because he did the same thing every time. And I just hyper focused on getting out like a crap ton of Reuters as Dutch so that I could just immediately kill all of his Gatling guns. And then I switched to skirms and was able to clean up all the regulars. And once you stop this push, you basically have USA beat because they have no economy behind this. I mean, Wiley's right now at 23 vills at 14 minutes, and he's gotten no pressure. So it's a very, very damaging build to your eco, but just the amount of high tier units you can get into somebody's base at such an early point in the game. And it's so hard to deal with because Hussars will get sat down by the tercios and regulars, and any infantry you make will be shredded by the Gatling guns. So really fun build by USA. It is a very strong build against traditional civs, especially against Portuguese. And I think that catch by the tercios to take down that town center was a huge pickup. So let's look at this more in depth. Follow me to the post game. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in the post game, and we can tell from the resources gathered that even with the loss of villagers, even with all of the raiding going on in his base, Sabugation still able to pull in more resources than Wiley. So this US build, it is a total investment, and if it doesn't work, it is very probable that you will lose the game because it requires such a sacrifice to your economy. And if we look at the military tab, this is where we see what that investment gives you. 74 military units, and a lot of those are really strong units. We're talking about veteran regulars, tercio pikemen, Gatling guns, Napoleon guns, really good stuff. And when we move to the timeline, which I think is where, all the meat and potatoes is, we go to the Vil count and look at oh, that is ugly. Look at the line for Wiley here from 2 minutes all the way to basically 8 minutes. No villagers trained. Stayed at 10 vills, eventually got his way up to 23. Whoa. At the end of the game. Meanwhile, Sabu took quite a few losses here, did lose that second town center, and then took a ton of losses there in that second raid. And when we go to the military unit population, we do see that Sabugation held that first push relatively well. And I think most decent players can hold the first push with the 3 Gatling guns and the regulars. It's that second push that was the backbreaker, right? The Napoleon guns, the Gatling guns, and meanwhile, Sabugation was trying to recover, trying to rebuild his army. That second push hit him, and he couldn't handle it. Now, granted, he probably should have gone for a unit besides halberdiers, but even then, that second push is such a struggle, and it hits so quick after the first one. While you're trying to scramble, you've used all your Minutemen. It can make for a really hard build, especially for European civs that, have very, very predictable build orders most of the time, have very, very standard cards, and they just don't have a great immediate counter for something like this from the United States. So there it is. It definitely is a build that, might just destroy more civs than just ports. But in this game, ports was not able to hold on. Well done by Sabugation. Well done by Wiley. A very entertaining match. Could have gone either way there a couple of times. But there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed that special United States build. Go try it out on ladder, or hopefully now you know how to counter it. Until next week, when I have another casted game for you guys, have a great day. Have a great life. See you later.